What's going on, vlog? As most of you know, I've got the LLC paperwork. I'm off this week, so I've just been grinding. One of the things I did this week so far, of the many things, outside of talking to insurance agents, talking to my lawyer, the other thing I did was I met with my accountant. So the key thing you want to do when you're starting up is make sure you've got all your bases covered. Finance, make sure you've got all the appropriate documentation that you need to get clients, to run credit cards, to accept payments, that you're secured with insurance as well. So there's a lot that goes into the back office, and I hate all of these gurus that are like, yeah, you can just go start your business, it doesn't cost you anything. No, it most definitely does, especially when you do it right. So I'm doing this the right way, and one of those steps was to talk with an accountant. So I just wanted to run through some things that we talked about during the meeting. Luckily, I have an accounting background and degree in accounting, so I knew enough, but that was 8 years ago, so things have changed, and honestly, I don't remember all of it. So you need a professional, someone that does it every day, to really be there to guide you down the right path. So some things we talked about right out of the gate were just, really the background of what's the business, what do I do, what are some things I need to be aware of. And he talked about himself. The guy was great. His name's Mike. He has his own bookkeeping and tax service here in Concord. He actually owns like 21 rental houses. He's got karate studios. The guy's doing a lot, let me tell you. But he knew his stuff, and he was old school. He wrote everything down. He's got his Excel spreadsheets and stuff, but he wrote everything down to the point that I've got one of these. He gave me one of these pamphlets, right? It's a annual auto mileage and expense log. Nowadays, you can do most of this on your phone. There's apps for it, but this is not a bad route to go. You write all your mileage down on here, all your mileage that's business related. So he gave me one of those. We also went through a form Schedule C. So if you have started an LLC and you are the sole member, or if you're a sole proprietor, then you're going to be filling out the tax form 1040C from the IRS, right? So luckily, my accountant walked me through every step of the tax form, which I'm familiar with, but what he did is he basically walked through it from the point of view of where items from my Schedule C will go into the form, the 1040. And actually, I just showed you the Schedule C. So, Schedule C, we've got red circles around some things. Basically, you need to be aware of your receipts from sales, obviously. And you want to have some way to track everything coming in and everything going out. From a legal standpoint and from an accounting standpoint, you need to track everything. Document, document, document. That's the number one rule. So some things to be aware of for the 1040 Schedule C, which is is really your profit loss for your business, is what it is. What this involves are things like advertising, car and truck expenses. So if you're driving your car and you need to get your car worked on, then technically that could be chalked up to being a business expense. Getting an oil change in your car could be a business expense because you're driving your car to see clients, right? You've got contract labor. That's something I have to be aware of because I will be hiring independent contractors. There's a whole other set of instructions for that as well, but that's something that I needed to be aware of. There's office expenses. So if you're working out of a home office like I am, if you're going to have, ink, toner, paper, pencils, pens, pamphlets, anything like that could be considered an office expense, really. It can even go as far as if you're buying, a computer to monitor, if you're buying a laptop, that would be chalked up as an office expense. Repairs and maintenance, taxes, licenses, if there's specific licenses you need for your business, deducting meals and entertainment. So if you're taking out your clients and you're paying for their meal, The bad part is you only get 50% back on meals and entertainment. That's the bad part. But it's better than getting nothing back. So be aware of that if you're going out with your clients. Utilities. So this one gets a bit tricky. So utilities like, well, obviously if you have a standalone business somewhere else in a building, you have your utilities, expenses of that nature. For me, since it's a home, I have to figure out, okay, when it comes to electricity and the heating and air, water, I will have to probably figure out a percentage use. I probably won't be able to take all of it because I still have a full-time job. Wages are on here. Wages you're paying employees. Legal and professional services. So when I pay for a lawyer or I've paid for the accounting service, then that would also go on here. And all I've been talking about right now are the expenses. Everything that falls under expenses. So it's going to take all your sales, it's going to deduct all your expenses, and then when it's all said and done, the bottom line will be, okay, what was your profit for the year? What was your loss? And that number is what will go over to your actual 1040, which is your tax return for the year. So once you get out of expenses, you get down to expenses for business use of your home specifically, which is a Form 8829. So you've got that to worry about. And then on the back, you've got your cost of actual labor. So do not include any amounts paid to yourself. So cost of labor to other people. For me, this would not be where the contractor cost of labor goes. I would chalk that up to contract labor under expenses, not necessarily under my cost of goods sold. And then some other stuff you've got is information on your vehicle. Basically, this is where the mileage would come in from your pamphlet. How many miles are you driving? And then you've got your other expenses too. If you take your internet, cell phone, and it was funny, Mike actually had a category called motivational. So the example he used is if you take all of your employees out to say a fancy dinner or take them all out for pizza. I think something he did was he took them out to like a roller rink, or I think something we used to do at one of my old businesses is that we went and played laser tag, which was awesome. Best business trip thing I've done ever. But if you, let's say you take them laser tagging, and it could be under motivational because you're using that time to pump everybody up, motivate them to enjoy their job a bit more and to work harder when they get back to the office. So he has an actual expense account for motivational that falls under the expenses that deducts from the potential profit for the year. So in all honesty, there's so much you can do. There's so many accounts. We walked through all the possible accounts you could have, which would then fall into maybe the QuickBooks or accounting software that you're using. But you really want to have an account for all types of things. Just as an example, you've got, I'm going to read some of these off from, he actually gave me his chart of accounts. I'm not going to show you, but I'll read them off. Things like cash on hand, cash in the bank, accounts receivable, payables. If you have inventory, goodwill, deposits, investments, federal unemployment tax payables, Medicare, notes payables, capital stocks, additional paid in capital, drawing, personal bills, direct deposits from a different source of income, bad checks, dividends, interests. You've got all types of stuff like promotions, contract labor, advertising, auto truck expenses, bank charges, commissions, depreciation, drugs and subscriptions, student injury, insurance, interest expense, laundry, cleaning, legal, accounting, licenses, permits, mileage, office expenses, taxes, telephone, travel, uniforms, utilities, basically anything. It's almost anything that applies to your business you have an account for, so that you can quote unquote account for it and keep track of everything going on in your business, so that at the end of the year either you or your accountant knows what to look for and how to classify those as either being revenue or either being an expense. So we walked through all this stuff during an hour meeting. If you notice here on a form 1040, you notice there in the red circle item number 12 here. Okay, that is where it puts your business income or loss that's attached from your Schedule C, okay? So you fill out your profit or loss for the business, Schedule C. The amount from that will go to your 1040, which is your U.S. individual income statement, okay? And it will either add or take away from any other income you've made throughout the year. So all in all, the meeting went great. I think I have a clear direction on setting up my own QuickBooks. I might hire someone to set up the accounts. I haven't quite decided. I am a bit of a control freak, not only because I like to know what's going on, because I do, but because I feel like if I know how things are set up and what's going on, that I can make better decisions when I am running the business and I have no hand in the accounting of the business. I will be familiar with the type of accounts that we have, and I will be cognizant of what expenses I've been driving up or what types of income I'm bringing in and how those are accounted for. So I think these things right now, when it's just me, knowing all the ins and outs is a huge plus. So that was only one meeting I've had this week, and that was accounting. So a lot was learned. I hope you picked up something from this video if you're watching it and you're running your own small business. So until next time, see you later.
From deep in my soul.